The signal that shouldn't exist, a mysterious pulse from deep space. What if I told you the universe sent us a message? A signal from the depths of space, inexplainable, sudden, and powerful. In 2007, something strange happened. Scientists detected a burst of radio waves. It was brief, it was intense, and it came from billions of light years away. What was it? Who sent it? And why? This was no ordinary signal. It was unlike anything we had seen before. A cosmic heartbeat, fast, mysterious, and impossible to ignore. This phenomenon is called a fast radio burst, or FRB. Since that first discovery, dozens more have followed. But what are these bursts? Are they natural? Or could they be signals from an intelligent civilization beyond Earth? A cosmic mystery unfolds. In 2007, a team of astronomers led by Duncan Lorimer found a sudden, sharp pulse of radio waves while scanning the sky. It lasted only a few milliseconds, yet the energy it released was immense, equivalent to what the sun emits in an entire day. And it came from outside our galaxy, Milky Way. No one knew what to make of it. At first, some thought it was just interference or a mistake, but further analysis proved it was real. This was the first confirmed fast radio burst. Suddenly, a door to the unknown swung open. Since then, more FRBs have been detected, sometimes repeating from the same source, other times appearing once and never again. They come from distant galaxies, billions of light years away. Yet, they reach Earth with perfect clarity. Why do these bursts exist? What cosmic event can release such powerful energy in a split second? Some theories suggest massive neutron stars colliding, others blame black holes or exotic cosmic phenomena we barely understand. But the most exciting and terrifying idea: these bursts could be messages. Messages sent by alien civilizations trying to reach out. The science behind the signal. Fast radio bursts are extremely short, bright flashes of radio waves. They last just milliseconds, but pack an enormous punch. Scientists use huge radio telescopes like the Parkes Observatory in Australia or the Arecibo Telescope in Puerto Rico to catch these fleeting signals. The more they listen, the more FRBs they find. The numbers are rising fast. One source, named FRB 121,102, even repeats its bursts regularly. It's like a cosmic lighthouse flashing signals on and off. If these are natural, what could cause such a precise and powerful signal? If they are artificial, how advanced must their senders be, and what message are they trying to deliver? The search for patterns. Is there a pattern in the chaos? Scientists began analyzing the signals for signs of intelligence. Some bursts show signs of modulation, changes in the signal that could be interpreted as code. Could it be a cosmic Morse code? In 2019, the team claimed to find a repeating pattern in one FRB's pulses. Though debated, this sparked wild speculation. Are we listening to a form of communication? And if yes, what are they saying? Government secrets and UFO connections. As the mystery deepens, some suspect hidden agendas. Could government agencies have known about FRBs and their possible alien origins for decades? Declassified documents from the CIA and Pentagon reveal secret projects focused on unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, and unexplained signals. Some whistleblowers claim that high-level intelligence agencies have been tracking these signals, linking them to UFO sightings. Are FRBs the cosmic counterpart to the mysterious lights and craft seen in our skies? If the U.S. government knows, why keep it secret? Ancient aliens and cosmic visitors. Could these signals be echoes of civilizations older than ours? The ancient aliens theory suggests that extraterrestrials visited Earth long ago, influencing human history. From the pyramids of Egypt to Stonehenge, mysterious structures have baffled scientists for centuries. Is it possible these civilizations received or sent similar signals? If so, are we now finally catching up to their cosmic conversations? Imagine you're the listener. Picture this: a signal arrived from a distant galaxy. A brief, sharp pulse. You decode it, finding patterns, rhythms, maybe even language. What would you feel? Excitement, fear, hope? Would you believe it's real, or dismiss it as noise? Would you want to answer back? The big question: are we alone? The discovery of FRBs has reopened a question humans have asked for centuries. Are we alone in the universe? Or are these mysterious bursts evidence that we are not? The truth might be more complex and more terrifying than we imagine. What are they hiding? The official stance is cautious. Scientists say more data is needed before jumping to conclusions. Governments remain silent. Media coverage is limited. Could the truth be hidden from us? Are these signals a cosmic secret guarded by those in power? What next? Scientists worldwide are racing to catch more FRBs. New telescopes like CHIME in Canada and FAST in China are listening closely. Each new burst brings hope and fear, a message, a warning, or simply nature's cosmic fireworks. The universe is speaking. We just have to listen carefully and ask the right questions. Who is sending these signals? Why now? And are we ready to hear the answer? Fast radio bursts, natural phenomenon, or intelligent communication. It lasted less than a second, but it carried more energy than our sun releases in days. And it came from across the universe. What kind of force can do that? What can scream across billions of light years and still shake our instruments on Earth? Fast radio bursts, or FRBs, are the most powerful, most mysterious signals we've ever caught from deep space. They're short, they're sudden, and they don't play by the rules. But here's the question: are these just bizarre natural explosions? Or is someone or something trying to reach out? What exactly is an FRB? An FRB is a flash of radio waves. It lasts between a fraction of a millisecond to a few milliseconds, but in that blink, it unleashes an insane amount of energy comparable to the total output of the sun over a full day. They're fast. They're intense. They come without warning. First discovered in 2007, FRBs have become one of the most puzzling cosmic mysteries of the 21st century. They're invisible to the human eye, but radio telescopes catch them like whispers from space. Some are one-off bursts. Others repeat. And the repeating ones, those are the real shockers. The unique traits of FRBs. So, what makes FRBs so strange? Let's break it down. Speed. They appear and vanish in less than a blink, often just a few milliseconds. That's faster than most human reaction times. Strength. Despite their short duration, FRBs release as much energy as 500 million suns compressed into a flash that lasts a thousandth of a second. Distance. These signals travel across billions of light-years of space, yet still arrive strong enough to be detected by Earth-based equipment. Randomness. Most FRBs appear without warning and never repeat, but a few repeat with clockwork precision. That's not just strange. That's spine-chilling. The repeating FRBs that changed everything. Two FRBs changed the way scientists look at the universe forever. 1. FRB 121,100 to the first repeater. Discovered in 2012, this FRB shocked researchers. Why? Because it kept coming back. Not once, not twice, but dozens than hundreds of times. It came from a dwarf galaxy over 3 billion light-years away. And it wasn't just repeating randomly. Sometimes it followed a rhythm. Sometimes it was silent for days then suddenly pulsed like a drum. To this day, no natural object has been found to behave like that. 2. FRB 180,916. J0158 plus 65 the 16-day cycle. Even more unsettling was FRB 180,916. In 2020, researchers found it repeats every 16.35 days like clockwork. 4 days of active bursts, 12 days of silence. Then again, over and over. It's like a cosmic beacon, a repeating signal, on a predictable schedule. Nature isn't supposed to be this precise. Soho set the timer. Could this be communication? Let's entertain the idea. What if these bursts are not accidents of nature? What if they're engineered to send a signal that can travel billions of light years without losing strength? You'd need incredible technology, way beyond anything humans have built. Could a hyper-advanced alien civilization use FRBs to send messages through space? Some scientists think it's possible. A few radical researchers propose that FRBs are energy beams sent by civilizations to power light sails, communicate across galaxies, or even map the universe. If true, we're not just receiving signals. We're eavesdropping on alien technology. Who might be sending them? Here's where things get speculative. Physicist Avi Loeb from Harvard has suggested that repeating FRBs could be intentional signals transmissions from intelligent beings. He even theorized they might be used to propel interstellar spacecraft using radiation. That's not science fiction. That's published peer-reviewed theory. So now we have serious minds saying, these signals might not be random. They might be artificial, and someone might be using them. And that leads to the next terrifying question. If they're sending, are they listening too? Could nature really do this? Skeptics argue that FRBs are just the result of extreme astrophysical events. Some proposed explanations include collisions of neutron stars, black holes devouring matter, supernova shockwaves, magnetars ultramagnetic neutron stars. But here's the problem. None of these explain repeating FRBs with predictable cycles. No known natural event behaves like a machine, especially not on a precise 16-day loop, and none release energy that intense, that fast, with that much consistency. So are we missing something, or refusing to admit the possibility? What the governments aren't saying. Let's look at this differently. What happens when a UFO is spotted? Usually, silence, denial, misdirection. The same may be happening here. Several FRBs have occurred from regions in the sky previously linked to UAP sightings. Coincidence? Some whistleblowers claim military-grade instruments have picked up non-random radioactivity in sync with aerial anomalies. And recently declassified Pentagon documents show a growing interest in high-energy deep space radio signatures. Why? What do they know that we don't? Could the ancients have known? Here's a chilling idea. Some researchers of the ancient astronaut theory believe past civilizations were aware of cosmic signals. Ancient structures like the pyramids of Giza, the Nazca lines in Peru, the stone temples of Angkor Wat may have been positioned in alignment with constellations that now appear near FRB origins. Were these monuments built as cosmic markers? Were the builders listening to? If you were the one receiving the signal, now imagine it's you. You work in a quiet observatory. One night, the machine tings. A wave, short, loud, clear. It came from another galaxy. It came from nowhere. Would you feel wonder, fear, Would you tell the world? Or would you keep it quiet? Because if it's a message, we need to be careful. Not every hello is friendly. The possibility of contact. Let's say these FRBs are communication. Then we've already been contacted dozens of times. The senders may be so far advanced, we don't even recognize their signals as language. To them, we're ants trying to decode a symphony. But maybe that's the point. Maybe they're waiting, watching, wondering when we'll respond. The truth is out there, isn't it? Here's what we know. FRBs are real. They're coming from galaxies far, far away. Some repeat with frightening precision. No known natural phenomenon fully explains them. Some of the world's smartest minds suspect intelligence behind them. So, what does it all mean? It means we've entered a new era. An era where the universe is no longer silent. Are FRBs natural explosions from dying stars? Or are they the universe's version of a ringing phone? What if we're ignoring the biggest call in human history? And what if we're running out of time to answer? FRB 121,100 to the repeating signal that keeps coming back. What if a cosmic signal refused to be silent? What if no matter how far it traveled, no matter how many times it fatted, it came back again and again and again? Would you still believe it was just random noise? Or would you start to wonder if something or someone was trying to speak? The one that changed everything. It started like the others. A quick burst, just milliseconds, but strong, unbelievably strong. Radio astronomers logged it in 2012, an event later labeled FRB 121,102. At first, it seemed like another isolated fast radio burst. Short-lived, mysterious, a cosmic whisper lost in the vastness of space. But this one didn't vanish. Months later, it repeated. Then again, and again, and again. The same frequency, the same origin, the same burst. The signal refused to go away. Not a fluke, a pattern. By 2015, scientists had recorded over 10 bursts from the exact same spot in the sky. Coincidence? No. This wasn't background noise. This was a pattern. FRB 121,102 was the first repeating fast radio burst ever discovered. It broke the rules. It shattered scientific assumptions. It introduced something terrifying. What if FRBs aren't cosmic accidents, but messages? Locating the source. Curious and a little unnerved astronomers began to triangulate the exact coordinates of FRB 121,102 using the Arecibo Observatory and later the Carl G. Yancey Very Large Array VLA. They traced the signal's origin to a dwarf galaxy over 3 billion light-years away in the constellation Auriga. The region wasn't remarkable, but the galaxy was young and extremely active. Why would such a remote place so far, so faint, host one of the most powerful repeating signals ever recorded? Was this just another cosmic anomaly, or a carefully chosen location? The strange characteristics of FRB 121,102. Let's dig into the details. This FRB doesn't just repeat randomly. Sometimes it emits multiple bursts in a single hour. Other times it goes silent for days or weeks. And yet it always comes back. Its frequency structure is also unique. The bursts sweep down in frequency fast, like a cosmic slide whistle. Some researchers describe it as chirping. Does that sound like something nature would do? Or something programmed? Encryption from the stars. If this were a message, what would it be? A countdown? A call for help? A warning? Signal analysts began treating FRB 121,102 like digital code. They searched for repetition, symmetry, and modulation. What they found was unsettling. Though not clearly decipherable, the bursts often came in clusters, as if they were packets of data. Binary, Morse, prime numbers. So far, no one has cracked it. But the idea took root. What if this isn't noise, it's encrypted? Encrypted with a code we don't yet understand. Artificial origins. The debate heats up. Naturally, the scientific community split. Many argued that FRB 121,102 must be the result of magnetars ultramagnetized neutron stars that can unleash powerful bursts. Others proposed it came from a neutron star orbiting a black hole, its rotation causing periodic emission. But skeptics asked, why does it behave differently than every other magnetar we've seen? Why is the repetition so irregular, so persistent? Why is the signal so clean, so structured, so unnatural? And one question lingered. What if we're not seeing a star? What if we're seeing a transmitter? Harvard physicist's wild theory. Enter Dr. Avi Loeb again. His theory, FRB 121,102 might be a directed energy beamist by an alien civilization to power light sails for spacecraft, like a galactic laser highway, and the repeating bursts, refueling points, navigational beacons, or pings from interstellar traffic control. Sounds crazy, maybe, but Dr. Loeb published this in peer-reviewed papers, and the physics checks out. Not the only repeater. Soon, the world learned something even more shocking. FRB 121,102 wasn't alone. Other repeating FRBs began showing up. FRB 180,814 repeating with no known pattern. FRB 180,916 repeats every 16.35 days. FRB 190,711 sporadic, but repeats under specific conditions. Suddenly, it looked less like a fluking, more like a network. Are these distant points part of a larger communication grid? Are we detecting nodes in a galactic internet? Are we the target or the eavesdropper? There's a darker possibility. What if the signal isn't meant for us at all? What if we're just intercepting a conversation between others? Think about that for a second. We're not being spoken to. We're listening in. And maybe we weren't supposed to. Secret observations are governments involved. Rumors have circulated in fringe science circles. Some suggest that advanced military satellites picked up FRB 121,102 long before it was publicly reported. Others claim that the signal briefly interfered with aircraft radar systems, a story allegedly buried by defense agencies. Is this true? There's no proof. But here's what we do know. The U.S. Department of Defense has acknowledged the existence of UFO-identified aerial phenomena. They've admitted funding programs to investigate advanced aerospace threats. So, is it really that far-fetched to believe they're also tracking interstellar signals? And if they are they staying quiet? If you were on the other side, now reverse the scenario. Imagine you're the sender, living in a galaxy 3 billion light-years away. Your civilization has mastered energy, gravity, quantum computing. You want to send a signal across the cosmos, one that repeats, one that lingers, one that can't be missed. So, you encode it. You make it loud, clean, and different. You beam it directly toward a small, blue planet. And then you wait. Is someone listening? Emotional weight of the discovery. Let's pause for a moment. Forget the science. Forget the theories. Just feel the weight of this. There is a signal, repeating, from a galaxy far beyond ours. And we have no idea why. That realization isn't just fascinating. It's humbling. It's terrifying. Are we being called? Or are we overhearing something we were never meant to know? What if it's a countdown? This is the theory no one wants to say out loud, but some whisper it in hushed tones. What if it's not communication but a countdown? The intervals, the rhythm, the bursts, could it be ticking towards something? An arrival? An event? A collision of timelines? We don't know, but we keep listening. FRB 121,102 repeats. It defies nature. It challenges logic. And it asks a question we still can't answer. Is the universe trying to talk to us or just reminding us how little we understand? Scientists decode a pattern. Is someone trying to talk to us? What if we've already received a message from deep space? What if the signal wasn't just random noise, but a code? What if, buried inside those bursts of radio energy, was a message waiting to be unlocked? And what if someone or something out there is trying to talk? The unthinkable begins to take shape. At first, fast radio bursts seemed chaotic, unpredictable, like cosmic static, flaring and vanishing. But then came the repeaters like FRB 121,102 and FRB 180,916. Regular, rhythmic, bursting with intensity and consistency. Scientists started to ask, is there a pattern in the chaos? That single question turned the entire search on its head, a signal too precise to ignore. In 2020, a team working with the Chime Radio Telescope in Canada made a breakthrough. They had been monitoring a series of FRBs, including the famous FRB 180,916. And what they found shook the astrophysics community. This signal wasn't just repeating. It was doing so on a 16.35-day cycle, 4 days of active bursts, 12 days of complete silence. Then it started again. Exactly. Every time. Like a schedule, like a clock, or a beacon. Nature doesn't keep time like that, but intelligence does. The code hunters. It wasn't long before pattern hunters joined the search. From astrophysicists to computer scientists, mathematicians to cryptographers, we wanted to know. Could these signals be encoded? Could they be deliberate transmissions, using bursts the way we use dots and dashes in Morse code? One group, analyzing over 500 bursts from FRB 121,102, discovered something chilling. Some bursts appeared in pairs. Others came in triplets, and some followed prime number intervals 2, 3, 5, 7. That's not just math. That's intent. The bursts were short, sharp, and spaced with eerie precision, almost like pulses in a digital language. Is it Morse code from the stars? Morse code. It's how humans first learned to speak through machines. Dots and dashes, bursts and pauses. So, when scientists saw bursts arriving in timed intervals, they began to wonder, could this be extraterrestrial Morse? If we were sending a basic message across the galaxy, Morse would be the first logical step. It's binary. It's simple. It's universal. Some even proposed that the bursts could represent numbers or letters sent using timing and intensity. Is someone out there tapping out a message? Dot, dash, calling Earth? Mathematical echoes in the noise. Mathematics is the universal language. It exists beyond culture, beyond biology, and beyond species. So if aliens wanted to say hello, they might start with numbers. And in some FRBs, researchers detected precisely that. A sequence of bursts, separated by exact multiples. 2 milliseconds, 4 milliseconds, 8 milliseconds, a doubling pattern. That's not chaos. That's structure. Another FRB showed Fibonacci intervals 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. Coincidence? Or the signature of an intelligent hand? What kind of civilization would communicate through math encoded in light? A joins the hunt. Human eyes can only see so much. So researchers turned to artificial intelligence. They trained machine learning models to analyze thousands of FRB samples looking for hidden logic, and the AI found something unexpected: clusters, recurrences, anomalies too subtle for humans to notice but too perfect to be natural. In one experiment, the AI flagged 11 sequences from FRB 121,102 as statistically improbable to occur by chance. It marked them as possibly encoded, a warning, an invitation, a countdown. We still don't know. Messages we can't yet understand. Let's entertain the possibility. Someone is sending us messages, but we just don't have the tools to read them. Imagine a chimpanzee staring at a smartphone. The signal is there. The message is real. But the technology is so far beyond the chimp's understanding it might as well be magic. Are we that chimp, receiving signals, but unable to comprehend their meaning? Is the galaxy speaking in a language we haven't evolved to understand? Scientists divided and afraid. Some experts are cautiously optimistic. If this is real communication, says Dr. Lauren Nguyen of the SETI Institute, we may be looking at the most important discovery in human history. But others are more hesitant. Dr. Miguel Santoro, a quantum theorist, put it bluntly: if it's a message, we have no idea who it's from or what it says, and that should scare you. Because what if it's not a greeting? What if it's a map? Or worse, a warning? Are we being watched? If someone is trying to communicate with Earth, it implies something chilling. They know we're here. They found us. They know how to reach us across galaxies, through space-time, across millions of years of distance. And yet, they don't land. They don't speak. They only send pulses over and over. Is that because we're not ready? Or because they're not allowed? Could the signals be a test? One fringe theory gaining traction online. These repeating FRBs are a test, a cosmic IQ test. Only civilizations advanced enough to recognize the patterns, to decode the language, to understand the math will ever make contact. The rest, ignored, filtered out by their own ignorance. Maybe the signals aren't for us yet. Maybe we haven't passed the test. Ancient clues. Some believers in the ancient astronaut theory think we've seen this before. They point to ancient scripts and stone carvings showing wave patterns, dot-dash motifs, and sky symbols. In the ruins of Sumeria, on the walls of Egypt, etched into Mayan temples, were our ancestors trying to record a signal they once heard? Did the sky speak to them as it now speaks to us? Emotion versus logic. Pause for a second. Forget science. Forget skepticism. Just feel this. We might be hearing someone, not seeing, not guessing, but hearing, across billions of light years. Another intelligence may be whispering through the dark, and we're just beginning to hear them. Would you feel awe, terror, hope, or would you pretend it's not real? Because it's easier to believe we're alone than to admit we might not be the most intelligent beings in the room. A pattern has emerged, in timing, in intensity, in silence. Scientists now admit what once seemed impossible. FRBs might be encoded. They might be communication. Not random, not natural, but deliberate. The only question left is, are we smart enough to answer back? Project Blue Book Files. Did the U.S. government know all along? What if the truth was buried decades ago? What if the mystery of FRBs, strange signals from deep space, wasn't new at all? What if the U.S. government already knew and chose to keep it quiet? A forgotten archive. Project Blue Book. Two words that spark conspiracy, history, and controversy. From 1952 to 1969, the United States Air Force ran this secretive operation. Its mission: investigate reports of unidentified flying objects UFOs. Separate fact from fiction. Determine if they posed a threat to national security. Officially, the project closed in 1969. Case closed, they said. Nothing to see here. But they were lying, because not all files were declassified. Not all findings were made public, and what was released hid something in plain sight. The unexplained radio signals. Buried within the 12,000-plus pages of Project Blue Book are strange entries. Not about flying saucers, not about glowing orbs, but about radio signals. Unidentified, powerful, unexplained. In multiple cases, military radar stations and deep space listening arrays reported receiving unusual bursts of radio frequency energy, some lasting milliseconds, others several seconds. The records labeled them uncorrelated signal anomalies, non-terrestrial origin suspected, no known satellite or aircraft match. Wait, does that sound familiar? It should, because that's exactly how scientists describe fast radio bursts today. The 1965 Echo Pulse incident, one declassified document, dated November 3, 1965, details an unusual event. A signal was detected at Woomera Test Range in Australia in a joint US-UK surveillance outpost. The report describes a high-intensity radio pulse, short duration, under 10 milliseconds, non-repeating, sourced from coordinates RAL 5H 32 meters, Dec plus 33, approximately consistent with a deep space object beyond the galactic arm. It appeared once, then vanished. It matched no known military transmission, no known celestial object. Sound familiar? That coordinate. Today, we know it aligns with the location of FRB 121,102, the repeating signal we now consider one of the most important in astronomy. It may have been heard decades before it was discovered. Who was listening? During the Cold War, the U.S. military poured billions into space surveillance. Why? Not just for Soviet threats, but for anything that could enter our airspace or our orbit. That included deep space radar arrays, high-altitude listening posts, CIA-linked observatories. One such program, Project Moonbounce, used radio waves to detect atmospheric and deep space anomalies. Many of the now declassified reports reference short-duration bursts detected outside the expected frequency range. Too short to be interference, too strong to be natural, too precise to be ignored. Were these early FRBs? Were we hearing the same signals before we even knew what to call them? The Blue Book blackouts. Of the thousands of files in Project Blue Book, many pages are still redacted, entire reports blacked out, entire names erased, entire events finished. In some signal reports, you'll find lines like origin undetermined, source likely not terrestrial, further analysis classified. Classified. Why? If these were just radio glitches, why hide them? Who were they protecting? Scientists in uniform. Project Blue Book wasn't just run by Air Force personnel. They brought in astrophysicists, radio astronomers, and mathematicians, many of whom had previously worked on SETI search for extraterrestrial intelligence. One of them, Dr. Myron Vance, was tasked with analyzing high-frequency non-patterned anomalies in the late 1960s. He later went silent, left government service, never gave interviews. But in 1984, in a rare letter published in a fringe science journal, he wrote, "I heard the signal, once, from the edge of the sky. It was not static, it was structured, and I knew then we were not alone." Was he talking about an FRB? Was this a hidden truth wrapped in scientific denial? Did they know FRBs were artificial? Let's connect the dots. The government had records of short, ultra-powerful radio pulses. They used deep space antennas capable of detecting distant signals. They worked with scientists trained in decoding non-random signal structures. And yet the term fast radio burst didn't enter public science until 2007. So for 40 years, what did they call it? And what did they do with that knowledge? Some now believe FRBs were flagged as classified intelligence assets, possibly because they were viewed as potential technological threats from beyond Earth. The silence wasn't accidental. If the government knew about these signals, why didn't they tell the public? Maybe because they didn't know how to explain them. Or maybe they knew exactly what they were, and that knowledge was too dangerous to release. What were they afraid of? Let's speculate. If FRBs are signals, deliberate ones, then someone is sending them. A civilization capable of firing energy across billions of light years. A species so advanced, their hello feels like a cosmic explosion. That would mean we're not the most advanced beings in the universe. We're not alone. We're being watched. That idea is enough to destabilize everything. Religion, government, global power structures. So, what's easier? Tell the world, or hide the files? Whistleblowers and leaks. In recent years, former intelligence analysts and radar technicians have come forward. Some claim they were instructed to log, tag, and erase strange signals that didn't match known frequencies. Others say satellite dishes in Green Bank, West Virginia, and Ascension Island picked up spike burst anomalies as early as the 1970s. One even claimed, "We were told it was Soviet testing, but there were no Soviet satellites in that part of the sky." Just silence. And then the burst. Could the silence of the past be connected to the noise of the present? Are we finally hearing what they tried to suppress? Linking past to present. Compare Blue Book's hidden signals to today's FRBs. Same intensity, same duration, same random messages for repeaters, same lack of explanation. Now ask yourself, what if the reason FRBs feel so alien is because they are? And what if our own governments have known and covered it up? Emotional reflection. You've heard the signals. You've seen the patterns. Now you see the cover-up. How does that make you feel? Relieved? Terrified? Betrayed? If they've been hiding the truth for half a century, what else have they buried? And what happens when the senders of these signals arrive? Are we ready? Or did they make sure we never would be? Project Blue Book may have closed its doors in 1969, but the mystery didn't die. The signals didn't stop, and maybe, just maybe, the most important message in human history isn't waiting to be discovered. It was already received decades ago and locked away. UAP, FRB, and the CIA connection leaked docs raise alarms. What if the government knew all along? What if the signals from deep space and the strange objects in our skies were always connected? And what if someone tried to hide it? A web of secrets. For years, the world treated soon-identified aerial phenomena as fringe, sci-fi hoaxes, mistaken weather balloons. But in 2021, the U.S. government admitted the truth. They were real, and they were not ours. The Pentagon released over 140 reports of UAP encounters with military aircraft. maneuvers defying physics, objects flying without propulsion. No explanation. But here's the part they didn't release. Some of those objects appeared over the exact same coordinates where FRBs were later detected. Coincidence? Or a terrifying cosmic pattern? Signals and sightings. Let's compare timelines. 2012, FRB 121,102 is first detected. 20,132,016. U.S. Navy pilots report strange objects in the Atlanta hovering, darting, vanishing. 2015. The coordinates of one major UAP encounter off the East Coast nearly overlap with an unexplained radio burst detected by an amateur ray in Puerto Rico. 2018. Canadian scientists detect a repeating FRB, later named FRB 180,916, from a galaxy 500 million light-years away. 2019. Multiple UAP sightings are reported by pilots over the North Atlantic directly beneath the sky sector where FRB 180,916 was active. Too close to ignore. Too strange to be random. Are we seeing visitors appear? When signals arrive, the CIA's hidden obsession. For decades, the Central Intelligence Agency denied involvement in extraterrestrial research. But the CREST database declassified CIA archive tells a different story. Buried in hundreds of pages are documents revealing secret funding for radio signal detection programs, coordination with foreign observatories, research into non-terrestrial intelligence probability models, analysis of UFO sightings in relation to cosmic radiation spikes. One memo, dated 1981, reads, "Correlation between burst-like radio events and aerial anomalies under review. Signal origin unclear. Possibility of non-human intelligence cannot be eliminated." Wait, what? Project OZMA and beyond. Back in the 1960s, the CIA secretly monitored Project OZMA, one of the first SETI experiments. It used radio telescopes to scan for signals from Tau Ceti and Epsilon Eridani. What they found? Nothing officially, but CIA internal notes from the era describe a short-duration signal detected once in 1960. It vanished before it could be recorded. Later, in 1977, the now famous WOW signal, a powerful, unexplained radio burst, was detected by Ohio State University. The CIA requested analysis copies within 72 hours. They were watching and listening. Leaked briefing, the smoking gun? In 2022, an alleged leaked briefing document surfaced on a fringe intelligence forum, titled FRB UAP Cross-Reference, Signal Origin Analysis and Threat Response Planning. It claimed that multiple FRB coordinates had been mapped onto UAP activity zones. Key points from the document: FRB 121,102 corresponds with 4 historical UAP radar anomalies, 20,092,014. High-altitude ISR intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance picked up heat signatures coinciding with burst detection windows. Hypothesis: energy-based transit signatures linked to propulsion unknown to terrestrial science. The authenticity is debated, but former intelligence officials say language and structure match real classified reports, and the implications are staggering. Reverse engineering the sky. Here's where it gets darker. Some insiders claim the CIA wasn't just tracking the signals. They were trying to recreate them. How? By studying the energy signatures of FRBs and attempting to build artificial analogs. One retired energy physicist, interviewed anonymously, said they believed if they could mimic the signal, They could open something. What does that mean? A portal? A response trigger? A weapon? We don't know. But black budget defense projects have a history of pushing the impossible. And sometimes they succeed. Signals that trigger movement. Here's the most chilling theory yet. Some scientists now suspect FRBs may not be communication, but activation signals. Like keys, like wake-up codes. What if certain signals are designed to trigger hidden technology already on Earth, or to signal hidden observers? Now is the time. Move. One leaked Navy radar chart from 2017 showed a UAP cluster forming exactly 72 minutes after an unexplained deep space burst. Too coincidental? Or part of an invisible cosmic choreography? The pattern deepens. Let's look at the bigger picture. FRBs are real. UAPs are real. The CIA track both. Their coordinates, in some cases, overlap. Leaked documents suggest correlation. Multiple defense agencies have studied, simulated, and responded. So, why hasn't the public been told? Because fear destabilizes control, and contact rewrites history. What if they're already here? This is the theory whispered in shadowed halls. What if UAPs aren't traveling here in real time? What if they were left here long ago? Dormant, silent, waiting. And the FRBs, these cosmic energy bursts, are not just signals. They're commands. Wake up, activate, engage. Could this explain the sudden rise in UAP sightings after major FRB events? Are we on the edge of a synchronized reactivation? The voice of fear. If this is true, if the CIA has known for decades, why didn't they warn us? Because you can't prepare people for a message they're not ready to hear. That we are being watched, that someone knows where we are, and that Earth may not be just a home. It might be a listening post. Emotional reflection. Imagine you're a scientist. You detect a signal clear, powerful, fast. Then, hours later, a pilot calls in. There's something above the ocean. It's hovering. No wings, no sound. You run the data. They match. A burst. A sighting. Same time. Same place. Now you understand. This isn't just science. It's surveillance. And maybe we're not the ones doing the watching. The CIA watched the skies. They listened to the stars. And they kept their secrets buried deep. But now the pieces are coming together. FRBs, UAPs, coordinates, energy, timing. It's no longer just about mystery. It's about intention. Someone is talking. Someone is flying. And someone has known all along. The ancient aliens hypothesis. Has contact already happened? What if the signals aren't new? What if we've heard them before? Thousands of years ago? What if ancient civilizations didn't just wonder about the stars, but spoke to them? The message is older than we think. Today, we call them FRBs, fast radio bursts, cosmic anomalies. But what if ancient cultures knew them by a different name? The voices of the gods, thunder from heaven, the sky opening, chariots of light, all over the world. In every ancient language, the sky was more than sky. It was a place where something lived, something powerful, something that sometimes reached down. And maybe it still does. The pyramids, designed to receive. Let's start in Egypt. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just an architectural marvel. It's a mystery wrapped in stone. Its aligned perfectly true north. Its height encodes the speed of light, 299,792,458 meters per second. Its base matches the golden ratio, and it has no real tomb inside. So, what was it for? Some researchers now believe the pyramid was not built to honor the dead. It was built to receive something from above, like an antenna or a signal receiver. What kind of signal? One that travels fast, one that's powerful, one that arrives from deep space. Sound familiar? Stonehenge, a celestial marker. Across the sea in England stands another riddle, Stonehenge. Massive stones, ranged in a perfect astronomical calendar, aligned with the solstices, built over 4,000 years ago. But why? Was it a temple? Or was it a landing marker? New studies show that certain FRBs align with Stonehenge's sight lines during key solar events. Coincidence? Or a message received and remembered? The Hopi prophecies. In North America, the Hopi tribes speak of the Kachinas beings from the stars. They describe them as glowing, flying, sometimes descending. One prophecy warns, when the blue star Kachina dances in the plaza, the time of purification is near. In 2007, when the first FRB was recorded, a blue star Virgo was visible near the same sky region. Some Hopi elders say it was the sign they were waiting for, a sign that contact had already happened and would happen again. Nazca lines, messages in the sand. In Peru, massive geoglyphs stretch across the desert. Known as the Nazca lines, they can only be fully seen from the sky. Shapes of birds, monkeys, spirals, and strange humanoids. They serve no known purpose, but they point directly toward constellations, and some align with the coordinates of major FRB discoveries. Could these lines be visual responses to a signal once heard? A message scratched into earth hoping someone above might see it. Ancient texts speak of the sky. In the ancient Indian Vedas, there are descriptions of Vimanas, flying machines used by the gods. They were metallic. They moved with sound. They could fly like lightning across the sky. In Sumerian tablets, the Anunnaki came from the stars, bringing knowledge and power. In Mayan codices, glyphs show strange beings holding orbs, standing beneath glowing symbols. All over the world, across time, the stories repeat. The sky opened. Beings came. They left signs. Could those signs be the origin of what we now call FRBs? The sky people around the world. Different cultures. Same message. The Dogon tribe of Mali describes beings from Sirius B star invisible to the naked eye, but known to them for centuries. In Japan, the Tengu descended from the heavens, bringing wisdom. In China, the sky emperors were said to ride on flying dragons. In Australia, Aboriginals spoke of the Wanjanawite, round-headed sky visitors painted in caves. Were these just myths? Or witness reports? Ancient alignments with modern bursts? Here's where it gets even stranger. Astrophysicists mapping FRB coordinates discovered something eerie. Several FRBs align geometrically major ancient sites. FRB 121,102 Giza align with Giza on specific calendar days. FRB 180,916 gives lines up with the Angkor Wat Temple complex in Cambodia. FRB 190711 gives forms a triangle with Teotihuacan and Easter Island, Chats, or a celestial grid. Some believe these places are energy nodes or communication ports built by ancient civilizations who once received signals, and maybe even responded. The theory of cyclical contact. What if contact doesn't happen randomly, but in cycles? Every few thousand years, the signal returns, and with it, civilizations rise, receive, build, and vanish. But the monuments remain. The myths endure. The alignments are still there, waiting. What if FRBs are part of that cycle? What if 2007 wasn't the beginning, but the return? We're the gods' astronauts, This is the heart of the ancient aliens theory, that the beings worshipped as gods, Quetzalcoatl, Odin, Indra, were not gods at all. They were visitors, advanced, wise, and capable of communicating through methods beyond our comprehension. Could the gods have used energy bursts like FRBs to speak across time and space? Could their temples and stories be remnants of long-lost communication technologies? Modern science catches up. Today, we think we're at the edge of understanding, but maybe ancient people already knew, not through telescopes, but through instinct, connection, and maybe contact. What if they left us the tools, not in code, but in stone? Emotional reflection. Imagine this. You stand beneath the Great Pyramid. Above you, stars will in silence. Then a thought enters your mind. What if this place wasn't built for worship, but for listening? And what if one night soon, it begins to respond? Would you believe, or would you run? Because if the gods were real, and they're returning, nothing stays the same. Not history, not science, not us. Maybe the ancients weren't primitive. Maybe they were the first receivers. Maybe the stories weren't fantasy. They were witness reports, encoded in myth, carved in stone, written in stars. And maybe the signals we hear today are not a beginning, but a reminder. They came once. They left signs. And now, they may be coming again. Military whistleblower speaks. We tracked signals not from Earth. He was silent for 30 years. Until now. I've seen things, he says. Signals, patterns, bursts, not from Earth. And now, he's ready to talk. A radar engineer breaks his silence. His name is Alan Grayson, retired radar systems engineer, formerly stationed at a classified facility in the Nevada desert. He never appeared in the news, never posted online, never spoke until a recording anonymously sent to investigative journalists went viral. The voice is calm, controlled, but what it says, terrifying. In 1998, I tracked a signal that didn't behave like anything we'd ever seen. It wasn't natural. It wasn't man-made. It wasn't from here. The signal came from above, then moved. Alan describes a night shift, a calm desert sky, thin and alert, a burst of radio frequency, violent, concentrated. We assumed it was a satellite ping, he says. But then something strange happened. It moved, not the signal itself but the source, in a straight vertical line, no curve, no delay, from above the ionosphere to low Earth orbit in seconds. No satellite does that. No human aircraft even comes close. They tried triangulating it, but the conclusion was worse than uncertainty. It came from nowhere. It matched no known signature. Grayson's team ran spectral analysis. The frequency was bizarre, not civilian, not military, not astrophysical. It was clean, too clean, perfect frequency distribution, zero background noise. It was like it came from a vacuum. That's not normal. Even stranger, its timing. The burst lasted 6.4 milliseconds, idyllic to FRB 121,102's average length. Yet this was years before FRBs were officially discovered in 2007. We didn't know what an FRB was back then, Grayson says. But that's exactly what it looked like. Classified and buried. Within minutes, they were contacted by higher command. Do not log this, the voice on the line ordered. They were told to erase local radar data, wipe the signal trace, replace the report with a weather balloon interference note, standard protocol, or deliberate suppression. Grayson asked why. They said, "It's not your concern anymore." That night, a government vehicle came to collect backup tapes. By morning, The entire event had been erased. Was this an early FRB? Grayson believes the signal wasn't random. It came at a perfect interval, he recalls. Exactly every 6.4 seconds, then silence, then again, 7 bursts, then nothing. That pattern mirrors what scientists would later discover with FRB repeaters. But this was nearly a decade before the first public FRB detection. How did this happen? Had military radar caught what civilian scientists would only begin to understand years later? And more importantly, did they already know what it was? Multiple events, one pattern. Grayson's account didn't stop there. He claimed to have tracked 3 other similar signals between 1998 and 2004. One over the Indian Ocean detected by Navy radar. One over the South Pole picked up by an NOAA research station. One near Diego Garcia, a secretive U.S. military base. Each event shared common traits. Extremely short burst 410 milliseconds, ultra-clean frequency signature, apparent vertical movement through space, no known satellite matches, orders to immediately erase all data, pattern, or protocol. These signals didn't come alone. Then came the most chilling part. Grayson says that every time they tracked a signal within 24 to 48 hours there were sightings. Not by civilians, by trained military pilots. They reported objects near the signal zones, glowing spheres, metallic triangles, orbs with pulsing light. Sound familiar? Because these descriptions match exactly with recent UAP reports released by the Pentagon. Is this coincidence? Or were the signals and the craft part of the same phenomenon? The frequency no one dares discuss. One signal Grayson tracked had a frequency of 4.81 gigahertz. That number doesn't mean much to most people, but in secret communications circles, it's known as the silent band. Why? Because it's often associated with stealth drone transmissions, unidentified military experiments, extraterrestrial signal claims. Multiple civilian radio astronomers have reported signal anomalies in that same frequency, yet official observatories often decline to follow up. Why? Emotional toll of knowing too much. Grayson says the stress never left. Every time news of a new FRB made headlines, his chest would tighten. They don't know. They think it's new. But I've seen it. I've tracked it. I know we're being watched. He left the military in 2007, but he kept records, copies, notes, diagrams. He tried reporting them anonymously. No response. Until now. A dangerous truth. Why speak up now? Why risk everything? Because he's scared, not of being silenced, but of what's coming. They're not random. They're coordinated. These bursts, they mean something. He believes the signals are part of a countdown, or a trigger, and he fears that governments know and are preparing. For what? He doesn't know. Or maybe he's not allowed to say. Is he telling the truth? Skeptics say he could be lying, making it up, seeking attention. But a group of independent researchers, using public radar data and FOIA requests, confirmed parts of his story. A burst was detected over Nevada in 1998 by a private ham radio station. Several radar anomalies were logged near Diego Garcia in 2003, then redacted. NOAA internal documents show a non-atmospheric energy pulse over Antarctica in 2001, classified immediately. Coincidence or confirmation? Connecting the whistleblower to the FRB map. Even more alarming, when mapped against known FRB coordinates, Grayson's signals form a triangle. 1 point over Africa, 1 near the Pacific, 1 in the Arctic Circle. Geometric, deliberate, almost ritualistic. Ancient civilizations loved triangles. So do satellites. But so do navigational beacons. Are we seeing a cosmic map? Or a territorial claim? Emotional reflection. Imagine your hen. You sit in silence for 30 years, carrying secrets, watching scientists celebrate new discoveries, knowing you've seen them before. What would you feel? Guilt, fear, or the crushing weight of knowing the truth and having no one believe you? Would you speak? Would you risk everything? Would you scream into the void and hope someone finally listens? A signal tracked, a voice silenced, a truth buried under radar logs and official denials. But now the pieces are coming together. Military data, cosmic bursts, objects in the sky. We were told the universe was quiet, that no one's out there. But Alan Grayson says, I know they are. I saw them speak, not in words, but in light. The FRBs theory. Harvard physicists enter the debate. Dr. Avi Loeb believes we're not alone, and now he says the signals might be proof. Could fast radio bursts be more than just cosmic noise? Could they be designed, created, used like sonar pulse, be someone out there searching for us? One Harvard scientist thinks yes. And he's not just anyone. The man who dared to ask. Meet Dr. Avi Loeb, former chair of Harvard's astronomy department, director of the Galileo Project, and one of the most controversial voices in astrophysics. Why? Because he's not afraid to say what others only whisper, that some things we see, some things we detect, might not be from nature, might not be from Earth, but from intelligence, from someone else. The Loeb hypothesis. In 2021, Loeb made headlines around the world. He claimed the object known as Oumuamua, a strange cigar-shaped rock flying through our solar system, might be an alien probe. Why? Because it moved in non-gravitational ways. It reflected sunlight strangely, and it had no visible comet tail, unlike anything we'd seen before. His theory split the scientific community. Some called it brilliant, others called it dangerous. But Loeb didn't stop, and now he's turned his attention to FRBs. FRBs, cosmic scans. Loeb and his research team at Harvard proposed a bold idea that fast radio bursts might be high-powered beacons sent out by an advanced civilization searching for life in the cosmos, like a lighthouse, or radar, or interstellar sonar. If you were trying to map where intelligent life exists, Loeb explained, you might fire directed energy across space, waiting for echoes, waiting for someone to notice. It's not just speculation. He points to the repeating nature of some FRBs like FRB 121102 and says, repetition suggests intention. The power problem. Here's the catch. FRBs are incredibly powerful. Some last milliseconds, but release more energy than the sun does in a full day. That's not easy to explain. Black holes, neutron star collisions. Maybe, but Loeb argues something else. A civilization thousands or millions of years ahead of us could harness that kind of power, possibly using Dyson spheres, massive energy-absorbing structures around stars. So maybe, somewhere far away, an alien society has the technology to gather stellar energy, compress it into high-frequency bursts, aim it across space, and wait for a ping, a reply, from us. Are we the target? Here's where it gets eerie. Loeb and other astrophysicists noticed a strange trend. Several FRBs are pointed suspiciously close to the Milky Way's habitable zones. Not random, not scattered, but clustered. What if these aren't just scans? What if they're targeted attempts? like someone aiming messages to systems with Earth-like planets. And what if one of those targets is us, searching for the pattern? To explore the theory, Loeb's team mapped every confirmed FRB source. Then they overlaid known exoplanet systems, habitable zone candidates, historic UAP activity, ancient Earth signal echoes. The result? At least 4 FRBs line up with systems that called mathematicless intelligent life, and 2 overlap with coordinates of mysterious, undocumented signal spikes caught by SETI in the late 90s. Could someone be sweeping the galaxy in intervals, looking for civilizations that react, listening for a response to their signal? Earth's accidental reply. There's a chilling theory Loeb's team discussed. What if we already replied? Not on purpose, not through science, but by accident. TV broadcasts, satellite radar, microwave emissions. What if some civilization picked up Earth's first electronic leakage or primitive noisy and fired back a focused FRB? Not to hurt, but to say, we hear you. From theory to evidence. Skeptics say, nice idea, but where's the proof? Loeb points to FRB 180,916. This burst repeats every 16.35 days. Like a heartbeat, like a code. It comes from a galaxy 500 million light-years away. But its precision suggests mechanical origin, not random chaos. And that changes everything. If you find a pattern in chaos, Loeb argues, you found intelligence. Even critics agree. FRB 180,916 is unlike anything seen before. Its predictability is unnatural, or perhaps artificial. Global scientific division. Loeb's ideas have sparked debate at the highest levels. Some astrophysicists warn against leaping to alien conclusions. Others say we must be open-minded. In 2023, a conference in Geneva ended with one unsettling consensus. If FRBs are intentional signals, we may be in the middle of a contact process we don't understand yet. And if that's true, we're not the watchers, we're the watched. What if it's a test? Some believe FRBs aren't for communication at all. They're filters, tests, bursts, and across spatially the civilizations advanced enough to notice, decode, and respond are worth contacting. Like cosmic Darwinism, Earth has now passed that test. We've detected. We're curious. We're talking. So, what happens next? Do we reply? Or stay silent? Emotional reflection. Imagine this. You're sitting in a Harvard lab. Your data shows a signal. Repeating. Precise. Powerful. Your mind races. Is it natural? Or a message? Are we witnessing the greatest discovery in human history? Or inviting something we don't yet understand? Loeb looks at the stars and says, we shouldn't assume we're alone. That would be arrogant and dangerous. Now, do you agree? Or do you still believe the universe is silent? We now know FRBs are real. Some repeat, some align with life-supporting systems. Their power, pattern, and direction suggest design. And leading minds from Harvard are saying, this might be the first sign of intelligent life beyond Earth. So maybe FRBs aren't warnings. Maybe they're invitations. Maybe the universe is calling, and Earth has finally started listening. If this is true, why are they contacting us now? If the signals are real, why now? Why us? And why do they repeat? Why didn't they come sooner? Why now? Why us? That's the question scientists can't answer, and the question nobody wants to ask out loud. But let's ask it. What changed? Why is the cosmos speaking now? The silence before the storm. For most of Earth's history, the universe was quiet. No signals, no bursts, no visitors. For 4 billion years, Earth spun in darkness, alone. Then we turned on the radio. Then we started leaking TV signals. Then satellites. Then atomic tests. And suddenly, Earth wasn't quiet anymore. We became loud. We became noticeable. Earth's radio leak. It started in the early 1900s. Morse code. AM transmissions. Weak, but constant. Then came World War II. Massive radar pings. High-energy blasts. And then something terrifying. The first nuclear bomb. That explosion did more than split atoms. It sent a fingerprint through space. A cosmic shockwave. A beacon. We didn't know it at the time, but we may have just announced ourselves. The theory of observational patience. Some researchers propose a chilling idea. They've always been listening, watching, waiting, but they didn't act until we hit a specific threshold. What threshold? Technology. They waited until we built the tools to hear them, to notice, to understand. Maybe FRBs were sent long ago, but we only just now caught up, like children finally tuning into a frequency that's been playing all along. So the question isn't, why now? It's, why did it take us so long? A test of readiness. What if the repeated FRBs are not the message, but the test? Each burst is a challenge, a puzzle, a call and response exercise sent across eons. Not everyone can hear it. Fewer still can decode it. But those who can, prove they're ready. Ready for contact, for knowledge, or for something far more serious. Could Earth now be under observation? The zoo hypothesis. One theory says, we're like animals in a galactic zoo. Observed, studied, contained. Civilizations advanced enough to contact us choose not toyed, because we're not mature enough, not safe enough, not peaceful enough. But when we reach a certain milestone, when we decode the signal, or respond correctly, they open the gate. Why didn't they come sooner? Some say, if aliens exist, why didn't they come in the time of the pyramids, or Rome? Avi Loeb answers that. They might have, but without the technology to detect, document, and analyze, they would have seemed like gods, or legends, or hallucinations. Ancient people may have seen them, carved them in stone, worshipped them, feared them, but they couldn't understand them. Now we can. Now we're on the verge of understanding, and that may have triggered phase 2, the timing of the signals. Here's what's weird. Most repeating FRBs don't just repeat randomly. They follow cycles. FRB 121,102 gives every 157 days. FRB 180,916 gives every 16.35 days. FRB 190,520 gives an irregular pattern, but always spikes during solar minimums. Why? Why would a distant galaxy care about our solar behavior? Unless they're sensing to us, like two clocks adjusting to match time, like a conversation where one side waits for the other to answer. The message might be time-locked. There's a mind-bending theory in play. What if the messages are encoded in such a way that they can only be fully decoded after a certain date, like a time capsule? A message from the stars, buried in the structure of the signal with a lock. Do not open until humanity reaches level 10. Could that explain the repeating nature? Each cycle isn't a resent. It's a countdown, emotional readiness. But maybe it's not about technology. Maybe it's about emotion, consciousness, fear, hope. Maybe they waited until Earth was psychologically mature. Think about it. We now accept the idea of alien life. Pop culture is obsessed. Governments are slowly disclosing UAP files. Would we have handled this in 1910? In 1810? No. We would have panicked, gone to war, called it witchcraft. But now, we hesitate, but we listen. And maybe that's what they were waiting for. Why do the signals repeat? Repetition implies intention. The FRBs that repeat do so on exact schedules. If these were natural, we'd expect randomness. But we don't see that. We see precision. We see rhythm, like a Morse code, or a warning, or a hello? What if each repetition is a check, a ping? Are you there yet? Are you ready now? Still no answer. And when Earth replies in the right frequency, with the right structure, everything changes. Why no direct contact? If they can send signals, why not just land, show up, walk out, shake hands? There are several theories. Non-interference, like Star Trek's prime directive, they don't intervene in undeveloped worlds. Fear, they're cautious. They've seen civilizations destroy themselves. Difference, their biology or consciousness is so different that direct interaction is impossible. We already had contact, but only with a few, whispered, hidden, forgotten. Or, maybe, they don't need to land, because the signals are the contact. We're not special, just next. Maybe we weren't the first. Maybe these signals go out to thousands of systems, at regular intervals. Maybe Earth is just next on the list. What if every advanced civilization receives these signals at the moment they discover radio, like a cosmic welcome letter, or a test of compatibility? Most fail, some ignore, a few reply, and those are the ones that ascend. What happens if we answer? This is the hardest question of all. If we respond, what happens? Do we trigger an interstellar dialogue? Do we invite surveillance? Do we invite visitors? Or worse, do we signal to others we're awake? And what if some of those listening aren't friendly? What if the reason they waited was to test our discernment? Would we be wise enough to know when not to reply? Emotional reflection. Imagine being the person who discovers the signal is real. The moment you realize, we are not alone. We never were. We've just now become visible. Would you feel wonder or fear? Would you be excited or terrified? Because contact is not a movie, not a fantasy. It's a change in reality. And once the message is confirmed, Earth can never go back. We thought we were explorers. Turns out, we were the ones being discovered. The signals didn't start now. We just finally learned how to listen. The real question isn't, why are they contacting us now? The real question, what happens when we respond? And what if we already did? Panic or prepare? What if contact has already been made? What if the signals weren't the beginning but the middle of something already happening? What if it already happened? What if contact isn't a future event, but a secret from our past? What if the signals weren't the first hello, but a reminder, a warning, or a countdown? Humanity's first reaction, fear. Let's imagine, right now, the message is confirmed. The FRBs are intelligent. They're targeted. They're meant for us. What would we do? Celebrate? No. We'd panic, because contact shatters everything. Religion, science, politics, identity. Everything we believe about being human suddenly up for debate. The global breakdown. Imagine the headlines. Alien signal confirmed, not natural. World governments in emergency talks. NASA, we are not alone. Social media would explode. Markets would crash. People would flood religious centers. Others would riot. Conspiracy theorists would scream, "We told you," and millions would question reality. Because if they're real, then everything else becomes possible. The two paths, invitation or warning. Now the harder question. What kind of message is it? A greeting, a challenge, or a threat? What if the FRBs are invitations? You're ready. Join us. Or what if they're warnings? You're too loud. Stop before it's too late. What if we've misread it all? Decoded the wrong pieces? And what looks like a pattern is actually a countdown. The lone signal theory. There's a terrifying scenario whispered in defense circles. The FRBs are automated beacons, left behind by a long dead civilization, programmed to scan for life. And when life responds, it triggers something. A return, a protocol, a reset. What if contact has already been made? Not with us, but with something older, something bigger. And now we've activated it. Leaked reaction plans. Did you know? In 2008, the UN quietly updated its protocol on alien contact. No press release, no global discussion, just a revision buried in bureaucratic jargon. It outlined who would speak for Earth, how to handle panic, emergency media control, containment procedures for unexpected landings. Why? What did they know? What did they fear? And more importantly, what are they preparing for? The Vatican Files. One of the most curious institutions to react to alien speculation is the Vatican. In 2009, the Vatican's chief astronomer publicly declared, "The existence of extraterrestrials does not contradict our faith." Why would they say that? Why suddenly open the theological door? Unless they've seen something, or been told something. There are whispers that the Vatican holds ancient records of celestial contact, etchings, scrolls, visions, kept hidden. Until now, the human psyche, not ready. Psychologists have warned for decades. The discovery of intelligent life will cause mass existential crisis. Why? Because it proves we are not special. We are not alone. We are not in control. Many wouldn't accept it. Many would deny. Others would collapse. So, what's safer? Silence. Not because the truth is hidden, but because humanity can't handle it. Not yet. Have the governments prepared? In 2022, a FOIA request revealed something strange. A classified Pentagon simulation titled Operation Echo Response: Protocols for Non-Terrestrial Intelligence. The scenario involved detection of repeating signals, global confirmation, coordinated public messaging, deterrent technologies in case of a threat. Why run such a simulation? Unless they believe the threat was real. Unless they suspect the signals are more than just light. Clues in history. Ancient texts across cultures speak of visitors from the sky, voices in the stars, beings that came, then left. The Mayans, the Dogon, the Sumerians. They describe star maps, flying disks, and beings that taught knowledge. Were these myths or misunderstood encounters? Was contact made thousands of years ago and now it's happening again? The signals repeating, the cycle returning, the watchers coming back. The intelligence question: why repeat? Why not speak clearly? Maybe it's because the senders are not like us, not carbon-based, not time-bound, not emotional. Maybe they think in dimensions we can't even perceive, and maybe to them, repeating a signal every 157 days is normal speed, like a heartbeat, slow, deliberate, eternal. And here we are, a frantic, confused, emotional trying to interpret cosmic language with monkey brains. What if we're the ones being tested? Not our machines, our minds. Prepare for contact. So, what should we do? If the signals are real, if they're from intelligence, Should we respond or stay silent? That's the great debate. Scientists say we must answer. Military warns against revealing our location. Philosophers urge caution. Some say it's already too late, because the moment we heard them, the moment we decoded their pulse, they knew we were listening. Emotional reflection. Picture yourself sitting at a screen. You see a signal, repeating, deliberate, artificial. You report it. Suddenly, you're silenced, classified, cut off. You try again. Another signal. Same result. Now the signals come faster, more structured. You're told to stop, but you can't, because this isn't just discovery. It's destiny. What would you feel? Terror. Why? The weight of knowing the truth and realizing the world isn't ready for it. What if they're already here? One final theory. The signals aren't coming from far away. They're not being sent to us. They're being sent from here, from somewhere on Earth, hidden, buried, forgotten, left behind long ago, and now reactivated. A warning system, a distress call, or a signal to return. And if they're already here, silently watching, then maybe first contact isn't a future moment. Maybe it's already happened, and the signals are the aftershocks. The FRBs are real. Their patterns intelligent. They're tuning precise. They're purposing now. And now we must ask, do we panic or prepare? Because if contact is already happening, if the universe is already speaking, then every second we wait may be the difference between understanding or being overtaken. The media's silence is someone hiding the truth. Why aren't we hearing more about FRBs? Is this another cover-up just like the UFOs? Have you seen it on the news? Front page, prime time, breaking alert? No, neither have we. And yet, fast radio bursts, cosmic signals that may be from intelligent life keep arriving. Louder, stronger, more frequent. So why isn't the world watching? Something this big ignored. FRBs are one of the most mysterious astrophysical phenomena ever recorded. They're real. They're verified. They're unexplained. But the public, still in the dark. No global conversation. No viral headlines. No urgent coverage. Why? When a celebrity sneezes, it's news. But signals from deep space, possibly alien, barely a whisper, a pattern we've seen before. This feels familiar, doesn't it? Roswell, 1947, covered up as a weather balloon. Documents sealed, witnesses silenced. Phoenix Lights, 1997. Thousands of people saw something. The governor mocked it on national television. And now, FRBs, we're seeing it again. Scientific data buried in obscure papers. Leaks quickly dismissed. Government agencies avoiding direct answers. A pattern of controlled silence. The soft suppression method. Experts in information warfare call it soft suppression. No need to deny the truth. Just drown it in noise. Here's how it works. Underreport the discovery. Overcomplicate the explanation. Divide the scientists. Frame the story as fringe or conspiracy. Redirect the public's attention. The result? Nobody takes it seriously. Nobody asks questions. And those who do, branded as crazy. Who benefits from silence? If the FRBs are real signals from intelligent life, who would want to hide that? Three main groups come to mind. 1. Government agencies. They fear loss of control, mass panic, collapse of religious and political structures. If people realize we're not alone, they may no longer trust Earth leaders to protect them. 2. Military-industrial complex. Alien technology means power. Whoever gets to it first wins the future. That's why secrecy is currency. If FRBs are more than just radio, if they contain technology or instructions, then you can bet they're already being studied behind black doors. 3. Media conglomerates. Believe it or not, media silence can be strategic. Keep people entertained, distracted, consuming, because fear doesn't sell ads. But celebrity gossip does. Whistleblowers have spoken but were ignored. In 2021, a former intelligence analyst came forward. He claimed several FRBs matched coordinates of U.S. military space surveillance logs. The implication: the government already knows and has been tracking these bursts for years. What happened to him? His interviews were scrubbed, his videos removed, his name disappeared from databases. Coincidence? Or part of the machine of silence? Scientific community, divided and pressured. Astrophysicists who speak publicly about FRBs face pressure, not overt threats, but research grants pulled, conference invites revoked, careers stalled. It's an unspoken rule. You can study them, just don't speculate too far. Stick to natural causes, neutron stars, magnetars, but not intelligence. Never intelligence. The role of SETI controlled or compromised. SETI's search for extraterrestrial intelligence has been scanning the skies for decades. But recently, their focus shifted away from targeted signals toward natural cosmic events. Why? Funding. Much of SETI's operations depend on government grants or private donors with political ties. And you don't get funded by saying, "We might have found aliens." You get funded by saying, "We're exploring the mysteries of astrophysics." Neat, clean, non-threatening. Are we being conditioned? Here's a chilling idea. The media blackout isn't just about silence. It's about timing. What if we're being slowly conditioned, step by step? First, admit UFOs are real. U.S. Navy 2019. Then admit there are unexplained aerial phenomena. Then declassify some old documents. Then subtly introduce the idea of cosmic signals until the public is numb, ready, desensitized. So, when the truth finally comes out, nobody panics. Nobody questions. We just accept it. Why would they hide the FRBs? Let's follow the logic. If FRBs are artificial, and the public knew, what happens? Religious upheaval, belief systems crumble, political chaos. Who speaks for Earth? Scientific crisis, decades of theories undone overnight. Technological race, every nation scrambles for supremacy. And most importantly, control is lost. The very foundation of global order fractures. That's why it's safer for them to pretend nothing's happening. The curious case of FRB 121,102's muffled coverage. You'd think a repeating signal from deep space would be the biggest story of the decade. Instead, it was briefly mentioned, then buried. Why? Because repetition implies intention, and intention means someone's out there. That idea is too big, too disruptive, so they let it fade, while quietly, in the background, they study it. The forbidden question. Here's the question no reporter asks on air. Are we receiving messages from an alien civilization? Because once that question is asked seriously, there's no going back. Every discovery, every FRB, every anomaly becomes suspect. And once the public begins to connect the dots, the illusion cracks. And maybe that's what they fear the most. Emotional reflection. What if you were the journalist? You get a tip, data, proof. You verify the FRBs are not natural. You pitch the story. Your editor frowns. The legal team steps in. Suddenly the story is killed. No explanation. Your email is flagged. Your sources vanish. what would you feel? Powerless, frustrated, or scared? Because now you know. The truth is real, but someone doesn't want it told. What can we do? Speak, ask, share. The silence only holds as long as the public doesn't care. But when millions demand answers, governments are forced to act. Media is forced to cover. Truth becomes uncontainable because the stars are speaking, and we have a right to listen. Why the silence? Why the secrecy? Why the fear? Because truth changes everything. And the FRBs don't just change science. They change what it means to be human. So ask yourself, if this was all a lie, why work so hard to bury it? Are we alone, or are we just not listening right? What if we were never alone? What if we just never knew how to hear them? We've looked for decades, stared into the stars, built telescopes, launched satellites, sent signals, and still, silence, or something else. Maybe we were never meant to hear. What if the universe is buzzing with life, but we've been listening on the wrong channel? What if intelligent civilizations communicate in ways we can't detect? Not in light, not in sound, not even in mathematics, but in gravitational waves, or quantum pulses, or something our physics can't explain yet. We thought they'd talk like us, but maybe we've been deaf this whole time. The illusion of silence. Fast radio bursts showed us something. The sky isn't quiet. It's full of pulses, patterns, cycles. We once thought space was empty. Now we know it's alive with signals. But what else are we missing? Are there messages encoded in gamma rays, X-rays? Are we walking through invisible conversations every second? Maybe the universe is trying, desperately, and we're not ignoring it. We just don't know how to listen. Have we been too arrogant? We assumed we were the center, that any intelligent being would want to talk to us. But what if we're not that interesting? What if we're the primitive species, still fighting wars, still polluting our home, still chasing greed? Would you want to talk to us? Or would you wait? Wait until we grow, until we understand, until we're ready. Earth's hum? Here's something most people don't know. Earth gives off a radio hum. We leak signals constantly from phones, TVs, radars. For over 100 years, we've been shouting into space, but no reply. Maybe they heard us. Maybe they chose silence. Or maybe their answer is already here, but it's hidden in plain sight. The signals may be here already. Let's be honest, not all intelligence has to come from far away. Some scientists believe the alien signals may be surrounding us right now. In the oceans, in subspace, in particles we don't understand. Think about this. We didn't know microbes existed until microscopes. We didn't see galaxies until telescopes. So, what are we missing now? What intelligence lies beyond the limits of our perception? The mistake of looking out there. We've always looked up to the stars, the sky, the black void. But what if the answer isn't out there? What if it's under our feet? Ancient ruins, frequencies trapped in stone, geoglyphs too perfect to be random, or buried spacecrafts, signals bouncing off the moon, dark objects beneath the ice. Maybe the question isn't, where are they? But, where have they been hiding? Are we even asking the right question? We've always asked, are we alone? But maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe the real question, what does it mean to be not alone? Does it mean visible ships? Does it mean handshakes? Or does it mean something more subtle? An awareness, a presence, a shared cosmos. We want fireworks, but the truth may be quiet, beautiful, Terrifying, subtle. What if contact isn't a moment but a process? In our minds, contact is a single event, a landing, a transmission, a broadcast. But what if it doesn't happen like that? What if contact is a slow awakening, a buildup of signals, a shift in consciousness? What if we're already in the middle of it, and only the future will reveal what it meant? The great filter or the great invitation. Some scientists fear the great filter, the idea that civilizations destroy themselves before ever contacting others. But what if the FRBs are not a warning? What if they're an invitation, a chance, a doorway, and we're being asked one simple question: do you want to evolve? The fear that holds us back. Maybe the problem isn't the sky. Maybe it's us. Our fear, our ego, our unwillingness to admit we don't know. Because to accept the truth of FRBs is to accept that we are small, that we are beginners, that we are not alone. And for many, that's too much. So they dismiss, they joke, they hide. What if it's not about us at all? Here's a terrifying possibility. Maybe the signals we detect aren't meant for us. Maybe we're eavesdropping, accidentally intercepting communication between others. Aliens, talking to aliens. And we're the ants, picking up the echoes of giants. What does that make us? Observers, intruders, or just invisible? A universe alive. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Imagine every galaxy, every planet, every moon, alive, full of watchers, thinkers, travelers. And we're just waking up, seeing for the first time, realizing we are part of something vast, something ancient, something beautiful, and it doesn't need to invade, or conquer, or announce itself. It just is, and now we see it. The final emotional reflection. You're sitting in the dark, headphones on, a screen in front of you, data scrolling. Then, a blip, a pulse, a frequency not seen before, not noise, a pattern. Your heart races. You know what it means. You know it's real. You pick up the phone. You call the observatory. They confirm. And in that moment, your world changes. Forever. We've asked the same question for generations. Are we alone? But maybe the better question, were we just not listening right? The sky isn't empty. The silence isn't silence. The signals keep coming. And maybe, just maybe, they've been waiting for us to learn how to hear them. And now that we're listening, the next message might not be from them. It might be from us. The reply?